Hello and welcome to Land and Mint Live. Tonight we have celebrity blogger Perez Hilton. Perez, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. You're so professional. You've got a show intro and a background. I feel very amateur compared to you. So congratulations on doing your thing so well.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And thank you for being on the show. We're excited to have you. Let's just get right into it. Okay. So just kind of tell people who you are and how you got into the business.
All right. Well, this is live. It's showbiz, and we keep going.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
I started in 2004, before there even was a social media. There was no YouTube back then. There was no TikTok. There was no Instagram. There was a little bit of social media, and that's actually how I really began. I originally didn't start blogging on my own website. There was this platform called Blogspot or Blogger, which in a way was kind of like the original Twitter before Twitter even existed. It was really simple. I think it might even still exist, but I signed up and I clicked a few buttons, and within a few minutes I had a blog and I could communicate with the world. And I had just decided that I wanted to try because I discovered the world of blogging and it seemed fun and easy. And that's the most important thing, because it might surprise people to know that I am a tech idiot. I am not an early adopter of technology. I'm not an expert at using this or the other, but because it was so easy, I was able to do it. And what set my site apart was I didn't want to talk about myself. I wanted to talk about celebrities. And back in 2004, 2005, people that were blogging, they were mainly just using it as kind of like online journals or diaries. And I never would have expected anything, because I didn't think anything was possible. I didn't even think people would read my little blog. You know, the word influencer didn't exist. I was the first one. I paved the way.
Yeah, it wasn't as easy, getting on TikTok and creating, a massive followers out of nowhere, essentially. It was so much different back then.
Well, and even on TikTok, it's people think it's easy, because they see somebody like a Charlie D'Amelio and they think, oh, wow, she got so lucky. And she did, but like I just said, she got so lucky. Not everybody is that lucky. A lot of people are on TikTok wanting to get lucky and creating content and working hard at it, and they're not having the explosive growth that others do or whatever. I got lucky, and I also worked very hard, and I did things differently, which is important. Like you're doing with your puppets. I don't really see a lot of puppeteers on TikTok. It's a small crew. There is a couple of others, but there's not a lot. So that helps you actually. Being niche, as they say, or being a micro influencer sometimes is better than being super mad or trying to just do a little bit of everything, because it's just harder.
Wow. What was there a story or a blog post that you did that blew up, that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is such a or was it more just the consistency and the determination behind each post that kind of created your fame?
It was both.
Okay.
I remember the first time I ever got on television, that drove so much traffic to my website that it crashed it. I was on this TV show called The Inside, which doesn't even exist anymore. It's off the air. It used to be the companion show to Entertainment Tonight. But I do have a story like that. In May of 2005, I was the first media outlet in the entire world to publish photos of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie as a couple. And there was so much interest in those photos that it also crashed my website. And then the mainstream media credited me with that scoop because before I even published the photos, I reported about the existence of the photos. So yeah, that was a really
great.
cool.
Yeah, a little
big
teaser
scoop.
for your post. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I didn't have the pictures at first, and then they were leaked to me. And I don't do. I've made a lot of mistakes in my 16 years, and I made a lot of mistakes at the beginning because it was kind of like the wild, wild west. I didn't know what I was doing. It was uncharted territory, and everything was so new. So I was using a lot of photos that are paparazzi photos without paying for them, which is a problem.
Sure.
That I ended up getting sued over a few times. Yeah, but I don't do that anymore.
That's crazy. So, kind of going off of that, what challenges do you face staying relevant as a blogger? Like, do you face the same types of challenges that you did when you began, or has it evolved into something different because of your status?
I mean, there's so many challenges for every influencer. I would say that specifically relating to me, when I began in 2004 and in 2005, I was a big fish in a little pond. There really wasn't any competition because nobody was using the internet to talk about celebrities, which is wild. TMZ didn't even exist when I began. TMZ saw my success, which I was really lucky to be very successful quickly. And my success inspired the idea and creation for TMZ. But, even then, even after TMZ came, for the first few years, it was still not a crowded space. I mean, even the celebrity magazines, they weren't even using their websites to break celebrity news. They would just tell people to go to their websites to subscribe to the magazine. It was all about the magazine. So go to people.com to subscribe, go to usmagazine.com to subscribe. And now, the magazine is ancillary and it's all about breaking the news on their website as quickly as it happens.
Sure.
But, my career trajectory is almost incomparable to a lot of these influencers, meaning I have outlasted almost all of my peers with few exceptions. A couple of the exceptions are, Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star. Even though they started after me, I really was first. I began in 2004. Jeffree Star didn't really rise to prominence for about 2 years after that. And Shane Dawson, I think maybe in 2007 or 2008. But they've both been at it for a while. They're kind of, and myself, we're kind of the exception to the rule. If you go and you look at YouTube, the top YouTubers of 10 years ago, most of them are not relevant or talked about anymore. If you look at Instagram, the top Instagrammers of 5 years ago are not talked about or relevant anymore. Even if you look at TikTok, the top TikTokers of 2 years ago aren't relevant or talked about anymore. I mean, before Charlie D'Amelio, the most followed person on TikTok was this creator named Lauren Gray.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about her anymore. She's got zero heat, even though she's got over 40 million followers on TikTok, which is wild.
Yeah.
It's not even about followers. It's about heat and engagement. Sure. And if you have more engagement than a large creator, that's all that matters. Engagement, heat, and having people talk about you.
So this is a very fascinating thing because, it's all about getting people's attention. So have you, are you constantly on the prowl for trying different things? Have you found a method that works for Perez
Yeah,
that is your go-to? What insights can you share on that?
absolutely. I mean, for example,
Mhm.
I don't care about any of these TikTokers, but
Yes.
I talk about them regularly because
Mhm.
people on TikTok do care about them. So when I create a video about a TikToker that's popular on the app, those videos do very well on TikTok. That's why I've been doing a lot of them,
Sure.
which I didn't when I first started TikTok. At the beginning of my TikTok career, it was just making silly videos. And then maybe I transitioned from mixing in traditional celebrities, which is what I'm known for.
Mhm.
And only over the last maybe 5 to 6 months have I also started to really in a sizable, meaningful way also talk about TikTokers. And it's one of the best things that I've done because, like I talked to you about a couple of moments ago,
Mhm.
nobody else is doing that.
Yeah.
Nobody is reporting on TikTokers on TikTok.
Mhm.
There are outlets reporting about TikTokers on other media platforms,
Right, but it's not
like,
on TikTok.
but it's not on TikTok, and
Yeah.
that makes no sense.
So
You
it's
know,
knowing your audience and knowing, yeah, that it
and
seems like such an obvious thing, but you're right. You're the only person that I've seen that shows up on my For You page, or even because I follow you,
and
that's
not even
reporting on any of this. And it's
and also another important thing. You know, if you want to have longevity and sustain a career, you need to constantly be reinventing. I mean, even me joining TikTok was a way to reinvent. I joined TikTok before Charlie D'Amelio did. I've been on
oh
there
wow.
a year and a half. I joined in August, or about a year and slightly less than a year and a half. I remember I joined in August of 2019, and I have
Okay.
a podcast, and the podcast. So like, I'll get to that, but my podcast co-host, when I would talk about it last summer,
Mhm.
every episode that I brought up TikTok, he would laugh at me and mock me, criticizing me for joining TikTok. He's like, that's a waste of your time. That's dumb. Only 12-year-olds are on TikTok. And I told him, listen to me. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
TikTok is going to blow up. I knew it, and it
Mhm.
did, because there's no other platform quite like it. It is
Yeah.
so easy to use. The ease of use is unparalleled,
Mhm.
and it's so inspiring to create. And
Yeah.
it doesn't leave you feeling like, and it feels more authentic than Instagram, where it's also filtered and fake and all that
Yeah.
jazz.
It feels authentic, and it feels like everyone that's on TikTok and has been for a while, to the outsiders, it feels like a giant like inside joke. You know what I mean? Like everyone, like the trends and like the Ratatouille the musical thing that's been going on lately. All these references. I mean, it's really such a different way to not just consume content, but to make it and to share it with an audience. It's crazy. Um,
And, you know,
yes.
Instagram Instagram killed itself. Like
Mhm.
I still use it because I have to, but if I didn't
Right.
have to use Instagram, I wouldn't. I get no reach on Instagram. Zero. Because they want me to pay.
Mhm.
Instagram wants you to pay them to push your content out there, whereas TikTok will do it for you for free. So that's what's so appealing to any average user. Like anybody can have a video go viral or do well. Like even
Oh
if you
yeah.
have just ten followers on TikTok, if you have 10 followers, you might have a video that gets 1,000 views. And you're like,
Mhm.
what the heck? I only have 10 followers and I got 1,000 views. That's amazing. That would never happen on Instagram. It's like impossible. So
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly.
I'm all about it. But I mentioned my podcast. One of the other things to do for longevity is you have to keep reinventing. So I joined TikTok, started a podcast 5.5 years ago. before the big podcast boom, you know?
Right.
I would say podcasting exploded maybe 3 years ago in 2018. I
Okay.
started podcasting in 2015. You know, I have always had an eye for talent and an ear for talent and an eye for spotting what's next and what's going to be popping and happening, and you have to constantly be reinventing and doing different things, and not every influencer has that skill or desire to constantly be reinventing. Like let's explain it. Like if you're I love following a lot of food TikTokers. I
Sure.
love watching them. Even though I don't cook, I just still love watching them. Eventually, if they don't grow or show more or show personality or innovate or change, eventually their views are going to go down. That's just what happens to everybody at every platform. You know, you look at the hot girls on Instagram that are the bikini girls that have millions
Right.
of followers, or the
Yeah.
hot dudes on Instagram that post shirtless photos all the time. Eventually, over the years, their engagement starts to go down because people are like, I've seen that girl in a bikini 1,000 times. I've seen that guy shirtless 1,000 times. People change interests or lose interests. You've got to, it's so hard to keep people's attention for a long period of time, which is why whenever I talk to young influencers like yourself, I always talk money, and I tell them you've got to be smart with your money. When you're hot, save, save, save. Don't overspend. Don't even live within your means. Live below your means. Live below your means, because 9 out of 10 influencers are not going to be relevant in 10 years. That's just the harsh reality. And actually, the shelf life of the influencer has gotten shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. Like it used to be, if you were a poppin' influencer, you could last 5 years. Now it's like two to three. It's
So
wild.
what is your opinion on the TikTok's change in the algorithm? Do you buy into it? Do you buy into any of that or subscribe to any of it? Or do you really think it's like, well, they're not reinventing themselves? Or is it kind of both in your opinion? What's your take on that?
I mean, TikTok is changing the algorithm every day. I have never been driven by numbers, statistics. I just do whatever I want. And I think authenticity goes a long way. And just creating because you love it goes a long way. You know, I love to mentor young creators and give them advice. And just today, I had this creator message me because she was so frustrated because TikTok is shadow banning her. And that's actually a real thing. People don't think it's a real thing. What's real about it is, and it happened to me yesterday. I was like, hello, that happened to me yesterday.
Can you define what that means? Because I feel like some people might not understand.
It means they purposefully suppress your content for a variety of reasons. Why it happened, and I don't know why it happened to this creator that I follow. It could be, I don't know, whatever content was she made recently, but yesterday I had 5 videos of mine taken down. I post a lot in a day. I had 5 videos removed for violating community guidelines, even though none of them did. I was reporting the news. But what happens is TikTok is so massive, it's run by computers and bots, and they give too much power to folks that report videos to be taken down. And what also happens is if you're talking about TikTokers, even if they're problematic, the problematic ones still have fans. And the non-problematic ones have fans. And the fans know how to work the system. They know that if enough of them report a video, as violating community guidelines for harassment and bullying or for hate speech or whatever, it'll get removed. Of course, I appealed them. I appealed every single one. And what always happens is my videos, 9 out of 10 times, get restored. And the 10 out of 10, and the 1 out of 10 that it doesn't get restored, it's because they have stupid rules, but whatever. Almost always it gets restored. But because 5 of my videos were taken down yesterday, they punished my account. And I would have normally gotten so many more views, but I didn't yesterday. So it's fine. I'm not focused on that. I still kept posting and doing my own thing. And
so,
it is.
So do you know, like, does TikTok notify you when you get shadow banned, or can it just happen and you have to, okay.
No.
Okay, gotcha. Because, yeah, I mean, I've experienced, I mean, I've been on TikTok for, it was a year this past October, actually. And I remember getting 10,000 followers within a day, and I thought it was insane just for doing my puppet videos. And now I'm a little over 500,000. But my views and comments are horrible compared to like the number of people that follow me. So it's a really weird.
I also have another observation that I'm pretty sure I figured out another way that TikTok works, which is, you know, as you know, and other people who like TikTok know, the default is the For You page. When you first log on, you don't see your following page, you see the For You page. So TikTok is absolutely catered to that, and they are constantly shoving and promoting new talent down people's throat. New creators. They want that. And because you're constantly being shown new people, I keep on following more and more people, and I think that's the case with a lot of people. Oh, I'll follow this person and I'll follow that person and blah 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 blah. And I don't know this to be a fact, but I'm pretty sure, just based on my own usage of TikTok, they then show me more videos from people that I've recently followed. So if I recently followed somebody on TikTok, their videos show up more for me than somebody I followed a long time ago. And I get annoyed because I want to see videos from people that I followed a long time ago too.
Sure. Yeah, that's really interesting. It's a crazy thing, and it's interesting to see different people talk about, you know, is shadow banning real? Is it not? You know, I know there's like people on YouTube that act like TikTok gurus, you know, with their thing, and it's interesting to see the different perspectives. Kind of transitioning here, could you share a favorite memory that you have from your line of work?
I would say my top 2 memories are both music related and pretty iconic. One, I was in a Rihanna music video for the song S&M. She tied me on a leash and walked me around like her dog. Then she tied me up in a chair in another scene and made me her slave. That was awesome. And then I opened Britney's Cirque tour in the opening video montage, the opening video in 2008. Like, that's major. I mean, I've hosted a lot of TV. I've acted in things. I've done everything. Like, kids that are on TikTok don't know all of the things that I've done because I've been doing what I do longer than any of them have been born.
Right. Well, and that's one of my favorite things too on TikTok. And I've seen so many of your TikToks where in the comments people will say people don't realize that Perez has been doing this a lot longer than TikTok has even been here. And so a lot of people tell us what's happening on TikTok. People try to. I remember a few months back people tried to cancel you. Like it was like this big thing. It was like cancel Perez. Do you remember that?
I loved it. Yeah, of course. It lasted for 3 months.
So how did that happen? Did you plan that? Was it just like a happy accident because it helped boost your what was like the thing behind that?
I wish I could plan it again because now I'm part of the TikTok. Now I'm part of the TikTok creator. Yeah, now I'm part of the TikTok creator fund. So now I make money on my videos, which I didn't back in March, April, and May. But that all happened because I left a comment on a Charlie D'Amelio video, which I do not regret, and I'm not sorry for the comment that I left. You know, I used to be doing things a much different way. Old school Perez might have left a very different comment, but all I did now was ask a question. Back in March, a trend was to use this one song that had very explicit lyrics. I'll keep it PG for you and your show, but the lyrics went something like, I can't take big blank, but I'll blank on it. Ain't blanking but with a blank, but I'll hop on it. Blah, 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 blah. So it was a song about sex, and she was 15 years old. She was at the beach in a bikini, dancing to that song and doing choreography that I viewed as sexual. And I'm a boomer, and I'm musty, as the kids say. I am old enough to be her father. So I saw that video on my For You page, and I was shocked. Not that she did it, because I get it. She was 15 at the time, and all her friends were probably doing it too. But shocked that she was either already the most followed person on TikTok or one of the top 5 at that point, that her parents didn't remove the video for her, because to me it just felt very appropriate. So I asked that question. I said, is this appropriate? And that was all I did. I asked a question, is this appropriate? And because of that one question, for 3 months, her fans would not leave me alone and were sending me death threats daily. It was intense. I could handle it. Not everybody could handle getting death threats every day.
How do you deal with that? Because I mean, do you let like when people comment, like, you know, I love you, Perez, you know, you're amazing. Do you let that to get to you, and do you let the death, or do you just kind of set it all aside and you're like, I'm Perez, I know who I am, and this is what I'm going to do, and any of the good and the bad you leave aside? What's your take on that?
I am very pragmatic when it comes to getting comments on social media. This is a great way for you to look at it, or anybody who is a creator. You have to look at comments like currency, meaning you have to attach monetary value to them.
Okay.
If I create a TikTok, let's say it's 3 months from now, right? And I lost a lot of weight because I've been working out, and I do a big weight loss reveal video. Oh my God, I'm shirtless. Like, oh my God, I'm feeling so happy and so proud. I lost 40 pounds. If somebody leaves a comment in my shirtless reveal 40-pound transformation video, if they say, I'm so proud of you, that's worth $1, right? But if somebody leaves a comment saying, ew, you look disgusting, I don't see any progress, you're gross, that comment is worth $100. Here's why. Because if another user is looking at my comments section and sees somebody in my shirtless reveal video say, I look amazing, oh, whatever, they'll keep scrolling. But if somebody sees somebody attack me and say, you're gross, you're disgusting, ew, put your shirt on, I don't even think you lost 10 pounds, that'll do one of two things. It will instantly engage my supporters to defend me, and it will also engage my followers to gang up and leave more hate. And either way, I win, because that $100 comment is going to get me way more engagement than that $1 positive comment. So I genuinely appreciate the hate, and I want and love getting negative comments. I would rather get a ton of negative comments than only a few positive comments and nothing else.
Wow, that's hilarious. And not to mention that you can respond to it in a video, and that'll just rev up your follower rate. That's awesome. So the Charlie, coming back to the Charlie thing, did something new happen with that? Because I saw some more comments on some of your recent videos, or is it just still
just residual? Yeah.
Okay.
Not even that. It's just like all these young people that don't know what I do for a living. They're like, "You're 50," which I'm not, but I don't take. I'm almost 50. I'm 42.
Right.
They're like, "Why are you even talking about a teenager?" Hello, isn't it obvious? I'm talking about her for views, for
Right.
attention, for relevancy, for clout, for money. She's the most followed person on TikTok.
Hmm.
It's smart to talk about her.
Yeah. Could you divide up what your day looks like as a celebrity blogger? How much time do you spend on certain tasks, and how long? I mean, did it take you a while to figure out I need to dedicate this much time to this certain task so it'll benefit me in the future?
There's no 2 days alike.
Okay.
And I love that. I
Yeah.
compare what I do to being a surfer, a professional surfer.
Okay.
You just have to get out there every day. Some days you're going to have big waves. Some days you'll have small waves. It's always, of course, really exciting when you have big waves, but you have to keep getting out there every day and working on your craft, becoming better at what you do, and enjoying it even when the waves are small. Today was actually a big wave day for me on TikTok because there was so much drama. I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. Do you just like, open TikTok in the morning and scroll through and say, "Oh, I've got to comment on this, this, and this," or do you like preset it the day before, or is it like immediate? How does that
it's a
work with you?
it's a combination of things. I
Okay.
am so prolific
Hmm.
that at this very moment I have, let's see, oh God, I have 525 drafts in my drafts folder
Wow.
because I don't want to post too much in a day.
Hmm.
But some days when there's a lot of news and a lot of
Yeah.
things that are to share, then I don't care about how I post. But if it's
Hmm.
a slow news day, or if it's a slow day, then I'll start working from my drafts and publishing those. And I have so many drafts that I have drafts from when I had different colored hair in there still, like highlights and stuff. So it's a combination. Like usually in the morning when I wake up and before I work out, I'll publish something from my drafts that's not time sensitive. And I'll wake up, I'll see what's happening on TikTok, I'll see what's happening on Instagram, I'll see what's happening on Twitter, I'll check my email, I'll read the news. It's a combination of things. It's about working really hard. I still work really hard.
Wow, that's phenomenal. What is the number one piece of advice you would give to influencers, whether they're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, wherever?
You have to put in the work. Um, you know, a lot of a few of the major changes that have happened over the years is not only has the shelf life of the influencer gotten shorter and shorter,
Hmm.
but so has the age. Influencers keep getting younger and younger and younger,
Hmm.
and that could potentially be very harmful for them for many reasons. One, because if they were able to achieve success at such a young age easily,
Hmm.
they may not be able to sustain it easily. And
Oh.
at 15 or 16, a lot of teenagers don't have a good work ethic
Hmm.
because they haven't been out in the workforce, or they're like still in high school and
Right.
are distracted by social media or whatever it might be. But you can luck your way into success,
Hmm.
but the only way to sustain it is with an incredible work ethic. I still put in 16 hours a day 16 years into my career.
Hmm.
Not everybody is willing to work that hard.
Sure, sure. And I don't know if this is exactly the same response, but what advice do you have to those wanting to follow in your footsteps?
My advice to anybody wanting to follow in my footsteps is um, I like to quote one of my favorite musicals, Gypsy, which is a
Okay.
timeless show. And there's a lyric in there that goes, "You got to get a gimmick if you want to get ahead."
Hmm.
Meaning, you got to find what it is that is different or special about you, a different way to do videos, a different thing to talk about, when you can really share your uniqueness with the world, success will come to you.
I love that. That's absolutely phenomenal. And I take that to heart, and I hope a lot of people here can as well. Perez Hilton, thank you so much for joining us on Landon Live and for sharing your story.
Thank you, and continued success to you. And you know, you've got what it takes. You've got talent and a great work ethic. So keep working hard.
Oh, well, thank you. And where can people find your podcast, and where can people follow you?
Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, I've got to admit, I've ignored YouTube a bit this year because I've been really focused on TikTok. But I'm on YouTube. I've got 2 YouTube channels, at Perez Hilton and then The Perez Hilton for family content. You can listen to the Perez Hilton podcast with Chris Booker at perezpodcast.com. And if you're a youngster and are interested in learning a little bit more about me, or an oldie, I just released my new memoir this fall, a couple of months ago. You can pick that up at perezhiltonbook.com.
Fantastic.
And if you don't have your own fancy custom URL yet, like landonlive.com, you better get that ASAP. Do you have that? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Smart.
Awesome.
Smart.
Yeah, so you guys go check that out and get your daily dose of Perez. Perez Hilton, thank you so much for being part of Landon Live, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Take
you.
care, guys.
Have a good
Bye.
one. Bye.